I have vivid memories of the preceding days before school starting, after a very, very long summer break of me doing my favorite thing, which is, as many of you could probably relate, nothing. It's the best. and the very thought of walking back through those school doors wound me up inside every year. And every year was the same, no matter how old I was. I could be in first grade or 12th grade. No matter how hard I fought it, the thought of me being thrown back to a year full of unknowns after a 3-month break filled me with fears of inadequacy, resentment, and anxiety towards school and everything then that entails. For many in the United States, this is the simple reality of how going back to school is. It's the way it's always been. But is it truly the best way to nurture our country's future generation, this traditional schooling model with 9 months on and 3 months off? I, as a student, as I'm sure many audience members can relate to some extent, confirmed that this time it truly is stressful. That time going back to school, that is an undisputed fact that those feelings dominate a young child's psyche. After further research of what type of school scheduling best sets up a child for success, I can in full faith state that schools should be changed from a traditional model, that being 3 months of summer and 9 months on, to a year-round model. Now, if I presented this idea to a younger version of myself, I would undoubtedly be very disappointed in myself. Summer really is fun. It's where I've made so many of my favorite memories, and the thought of taking that away seems outlandish. Why would I want to eliminate that time where so many memories are made? I can truly understand why this sounds like an idea that wouldn't be popular among school-age kids or really anyone in general. Summer, there's so many songs written about how awesome summer is, and why would I want to take that away? However, in this type of year-round schooling I'm talking about, I seek to make common amongst schooling districts across the U.S. The amount of breaks combined throughout the year-round type of schooling is equivalent to the time spent in break over summer. Instead of it all accumulating over 3 months, it would simply be in smaller segments throughout the course of the year. Now, when this school schedule is changed to one that resembles year-round schooling, children experience positive emotional adjustment, positive retention in learning, and positive family ties. So firstly, year-round school leads to children's positive emotional adjustment. Going back to my first little anecdote I shared, I can reflect clearly in my own life that the long gap between summer and the start of school caused havoc for me emotionally. But it's not just my word that I have for reference. As the American College of Education puts it, when school closes for the summer, achievement gaps increase and students experience a decline in academic skills and social emotional health. Even the most prepared parent will find it hard to combat this summer slide. Low-income students are especially prone to these negative effects. Year-round schools take away the threat posed by the summer slide. Close quote. So what is important there to note is this social emotional health that is talked about, specifically those who are most at risk in low SES income households. They tend to slip into a decline as summer draws to an end and as school starts. Summer creates an escape to forget about life. And we as humans like escapes. It takes away our anxieties, and it's temporary. We as humans come to grow quite comfortable the longer we stay escaped from reality, and in this case, escape from school. This just makes the thought of going back harder and harder the longer it's extended. Many students, and as stated by the College of Education, especially low SES kids, social economic status kids, those most needing of being nurtured are most at risk. So what about the kids who really don't like school? I know I've been in that boat before, and I know many, many people, it's a very real thing that school is a stressful environment. So wouldn't year-round school harm them? Really, it's found that on the contrary, kids' feelings, especially those negative feelings towards school, are minimized when summer is shortened and year-round activity is emphasized. This occurs for many reasons. Many students don't like school because they view it as a chore. They are just counting down the days until summer, where they can just forget about everything. But children thrive when they are constantly pushed to excel, with a higher number but shorter breaks in between. And that is exactly what a year-round model does. It provides that model of pushing kids to constantly excel throughout the year with shorter breaks in between that they can look forward to. So secondly, year-round school leads to children's positive retention in learning. I thought it a really good idea to delve into strategies that we as humans can adopt to make learning more efficient and more worthwhile, and see what type of learning methods line up with the year-round model, and if they do. And if they do, then the year-round model would be a good idea to pursue. And I found myself reading a study in a journal published by Journal of Applied Research in Memory and Cognition titled Fostering Effective Learning Strategies in Higher Education, a mixed method study. The study presented many learning strategies and ranked them from highest effectiveness in long-term retainment and lowest. The two strategies that ranked the highest were titled practice testing and distributed practice. These are two types of learning that is emphasized by year-round schooling and diminished by traditional school scheduling. So practice testing is defined as actively retrieving information from memory by using practice tests. So with year-round school, the opportunities to do this consistently are increased dramatically. It creates an environment where students can be doing this all the time and actively. So distributed practice is similar to practice tests. It is defined as spacing study sessions in several sessions over time and reviewing learning materials studied earlier and later sessions. So in year-round schooling, this is what takes place, and with summer disrupting that cycle quite dramatically. In these two high-effective learning strategies, the common theme is noticed. It's repetition. Learning is simply better done when it is done cyclical with no breaks. Year-round learning supports this model, while traditional learning hinders it. It allows students to break that cycle of learning with summer, and causing them to slip into delays of learning, and they have to go back and relearn much of what they already learned. So thirdly, year-round schools positively benefit family ties, and this is one that this is something that I have found actually quite beneficial, because it's something we don't really realize that year-round schools has the potential to do it. It strengthens families. So often what isn't realized is the straining effect this summer has on the family. As many as 1 out of 5 kids live with a single working parent, and school acts as a wonderful daycare. When there is suddenly a gaping 2.5-month period where children care is not covered, this causes problems with families and parents seeking supervision for their kids. It leaves children often unattended for long periods of time, which can limit the amount of healthy attachment kids make in life. This all blends together and causes stress on many vulnerable families. So how would year-round school be any different? While it is true that year-round school would still leave time where kids could potentially go unsupervised, with the breaks shorter and more often, a sense of routine could be established and thus limited the impact it has on the child and parent. And with the breaks being shorter, the negative consequences of prolonged unsupervised activity are dampened. So to conclude, year-round school is simply crucial if we are truly serious about wanting the best for children. It supports them emotionally and caters to their mental health needs, which are becoming more and more chaotic every day in this world. It supports learning tactics that in turn support children's ability to retain information and excel in school and in life. And it has the capacity to bring families closer together and establish a healthy balance in the home life. A parent should fight to ensure what is best for their children. I encourage you each to further explore the benefits of year-round schooling and become a serious advocate for change in this regard. Thank you so much.